Oh, hey YouTube, what is really good? My name is Emvee, coach of the South Texas Sableyes, and this is going to be your late upload for week 4 of the APA. I know it's late. I'm actually recording it late. I'm post-comming it, if you can't tell. I normally live-com my battles. When I ended up battling ultraplayer, I decided that I was going to post-com this one, and then by proxy of that decision, I just knew I was going to end up uploading it late, because I'm awful if I don't live record, because I have a really good process when I live record, and then when I post-com, for some reason, it always stresses me out to actually go back and do the commentary, because I think I need to nail it, and really, I probably don't, because I'm just trying to talk through the battle with you. But anyways, enough rambling. Hi, I'm in vivid color. Oh, hello. That's my new, I've picked up that like weird internet word. It's like when you see a picture of a dog saying hello on the internet, they say hello instead. Anyways, so this is our week 4 APA match. This is against ultraplayer, a good friend of mine. He used to help me build a ton in all my other leagues. I still actually ask him for advice every once in a while. Nowadays, I for the most part, I try to build self-sufficiently, or I'll ask him or Randy or Root, are the sort of like the 3 people I ask for. I've been thinking about getting a front office started, which I've had people message me about it. So if you are interested, go ahead and message me again, because I think it would be a good thing for me, just to have people to toss around ideas with. But this is, I've been rambling for so long, holy. Okay, so it's ultraplayer. He's coach of the Philadelphia Soldier. Really cool team name, really cool logo. And he's our opponent this week. His team is really terrifying. If I'd thought about this, I would have pulled up the APA document before going, so I could tell you why I brought what I did. But let's look really quickly at what he has access to. I'm gonna take this one out. I feel like one of these earbuds has been shocking me, which is terrifying. I need to stop using them. Okay, so the Philadelphia Soldier. I feel like this earbud is shocking me. Do I really need to be able to hear this music? I don't know. I feel intimidated by it. 1 second. Okay, and just like that, we're back, and now we have on the really fancy, overpriced Beats headphones that my fiance insists is the best thing ever. And ultraplayer's team is Mega Charizard X, Zapdos, Suicune, Florges, Excadrill, Miltank, Chestnut, Sneasel, Weezing, Espeon, Diancie, or Diancie? I'm gonna go with Diancie. So that is what ultraplayer has access to. So this week, we are bringing the Hitmontop, which is like a fully attack invested technician expert belt set. So really gets off good damage against some of his threats. Like I think Bullet Punch does a massive chunk to Diancie. Mach Punch does has the chance to OHKO the Excadrill. It's not a super high chance, but it can OHKO Excadrill. Does a lot to Miltank. And then we have Sucker Punch, which was for the Espeon, because in prep, the mons that looked really sort of terrifying were Espeon and Sneasel, because my team didn't have good answers to them. And Hitmontop just kind of answers both of those things. A really defensive Arcanine set. Oh, and also has Fake Out for Chip. Really defensive Arcanine set with Dragon Pulse this week, just because Dragon Pulse has a chance to 2-hit KO uninvested Mega Charizard X. We also brought the Toxic to whittle down. And then this Latias set is Calm Mind, Roost, or Recover. Calm Mind, Recover, Psyshock, and Substitute. So Mono Psychic Stab, which in the face of Sneasel was bad, which is why I brought 2-3-ish checks to Sneasel. A offensive Rotom Grass, Rotom Mow, sort of just like an offensive utility with Volt Switch, Defog, Leaf Storm, and Thunderwave. Thunderwave because the Charizard can always just set up a Dragon Dance in front of us if we don't have Thunderwave. Obviously, it can also kill us, but I think more often than not, they would be inclined to just Dragon Dance in our face. Mamoswine, pretty bulky, honestly, like a bulky sub-leftovers Mamo with Stealth Rocks, Ice, Icicle Spear, Ice Shard, Earthquake. Or no, Sub, Earthquake, Icicle Spear, Stealth Rock. So no priority on the Mamo. And then a Scarf Terrakion. So this is the team we're bringing. Ultraplayer ended up bringing the Florges, the Chestnut, the Suicune, the Mega Charizard X, the Miltank, and the Excadrill. So completely whiffing on the Sneasel and the Espeon, the 2 that I brought specific counters for, which makes Latias look really good. But, you know, I feel like anything. It's anyone's game. This is a post-com, so I know how this game ends. You clearly do not, but you're gonna learn today. So let's just let's hop right into this. There's probably gonna be a little bit of a lag here. Just, you hear that? Right there, that little skip. That should be the last lag. Let's see how this battle goes. And this is my first time post-comming in months, I would say. I've gotten to where I'm back in the groove of live comming things, and it was also really easy to live comm for Let's Go. So, you know, this is welcome back to me post-comming. So we lead out with the Hitmon top. I think it has pretty favorable matchups versus the team, and I just go for that fake out. We get to see if this is leftovers. It is. It also reveals that this thing is super physically defensive. So I go ahead, click the bullet punch. I'm running calcs. It looks like it's never going to 2-hit KO after lefties, but I decided I wanted to at least test my luck. So we go for the first bullet punch. It does a massive amount of damage, which I'm stoked about because already the Hitmon top is kind of doing what it's supposed to. We eat a toxic, but that's okay because I'm not really trying to keep this thing in for long stints of time. And it can just, you know, come in, fake out something, get a priority move off. Come in, fake out something, get a priority move off. It's also really good against the mill tank and the excadrill. So this is, I think, where I made a mistake. I stayed in, went for that bullet punch again, just seeing if maybe I could get a high roll, maybe if I could put this thing in range. I don't know if there was a high roll that let me KO it, but if there was, I would like to live in that universe instead of this one. So we eat some more toxic damage up. I'm pretty sure this is the turn I decided that this was going nowhere. Yeah. So we switch out. Also, my nicknames are just super trolly. Let me adjust really quick. My nicknames are super trolly. I think they're fun, like Gone Wrong. It's like those things you put in tags after YouTube videos, like Gone Wrong, not clickbait, prank, painful. So if anyone is curious about that. So we switch into Arcanine here. I'm thinking back on it, I don't really know what the point was. I thought I was going to eat a Moonblast there, so I stayed in, or no, so I switched on to Arcanine. Arcanine super eats a Moonblast, and I didn't want Mamo to take damage, even though it's a relatively bulky Mamo. And then the rest of my team just didn't eat a Moonblast well, really. The Rotom looks kind of important here for breaking the Suicune, so I want to keep it healthy. So we come in, we trade Toxics, and at this point, I know that Arcanine is one of my best checks to Mega Charizard X. It's also a relatively decent check against Excadrill, because if we come in and the Excadrill is like Scarf, or basically if the Excadrill is not Banded or Sword Stance, we, I think, always eat 2 EQs, but we're already Toxic. So I don't know necessarily. I think that line was a little loose for me because he was obviously always going to heal up there, so I could have just gone into the Mamo for free. So we go into our Mamo now. He actually switches out and he switches into a Suicune, so we get caught with a really bad, like it was a double out, and we get caught on the bad end of it. We switch into our Rotom. I know I can eat any hit here. I know that we're good. So I'm going to come in and I'm always going to click Leaf Storm because he has some resists, but I'll take Chip on anything, honestly. So I predict him to switch out. I'm still going to go for the Leaf Storm every time. It's exactly what happens. So we go for the Leaf Storm, it connects, and this Vacuum, which I'm assuming this is why he named it Vacuum, it just sucks up the hit like it's nothing because Florges is a specially defensive monster. We reveal ourselves to be lefties. I think the next turn, I'm pretty sure I just like Volt switch out for a little bit of Chip. And we're sort of setting up a pattern here where he switches into Suicune, I switch in my Rotom, I go for Leaf Storm, he switches into his Florges. Like this happens 2 or 3 times in this match. And it eventually, you know, it changes. The pattern evolves. So we go for the Leaf Storm into the Volt switch. He's probably just going to Synthesis here. Yes. Okay, so we got that prediction right. I am pretty sure he's going to switch out his Florges because up to this point, he's been really, really keen on keeping it healthy. So I bring in my Mamoswine. I'm pretty sure he's going to switch out in the face of not knowing at all what this Mamoswine does. So this turn, I click the nice substitute, and there is a fat amount of HP in this Mamoswine, like a fat amount. Also, him switching in his Miltank lets me... it lets me just go ahead and assume that he's not Sap Sipper. So he's either Thick Fat or... what's the other one? Scrappy. Scrappy? Scrappy. So he switches in his Miltank. We're a Mamoswine. We're behind a sub. We eat a Seismic Toss for breakfast, lunch, and dinner behind this sub. Because, again, I think these subs are... I think that, what's my HP? I think it's like 209. It's 207 or 209. The HP was a leftovers number, but 209. So it's a leftovers number because I think that's the first number that lets me take an odd number of damage from stealth rocks, but also get 13 health back from leftovers. I've been really into like calcing leftovers numbers and also like stealth rock switching numbers lately because I think those small edges really, really add up in a match. So just super a leftovers number. We stay in, obviously, like we're eating the seismic toss for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And this is a sequence of turns where I think I would have benefited from getting some earthquake damage on his mill tank, because his mill tank is obviously going to be bulky one way or the other. He breaks our sub. We go for another substitute because we know the second seismic toss always breaks. We go for the second sub, and now we're just going to click whatever. It really doesn't matter. Like, we can click whatever move we want because we're behind a substitute. There's nothing he can do. He's gonna switch in, take some stealth rock damage, and we're just gonna get a fat earthquake off on this Suicune. Except, oh yeah, it's Suicune, and it eats every hit like it's child's play. Like, this is, like, right now, the Suicune is a little bit under 50%. After lefties, it's a little bit over 50%, and EQ never kills from this range. So obviously we're gonna stay in and EQ again because the Suicune can't touch us. We're behind a sub. We go for that fat EQ. Our sub is gonna break. All fine things. All fine things. I have decided in my head at this point that if I don't knock it out, I'm always gonna stay in, because with this set, if his Suicune's not invested, we always eat a Scald, and we can pretty much tell that he's not invested from the damage it did to my Rotom. So we always eat a Scald. If I can knock this thing out, it's really good for me, because Suicune is kind of monstrous against my team. So I stay in, click EQ again, and he just goes for rest. And now we're in a bad position, because he reveals rest. That probably means he has Sleep Talk. And the rest Sleep Talk Suicune with Scald means that his other move is either Calm Mind or Roar. Roar makes a lot of sense because it phases out anything trying to abuse Rest Talk Suicune to set up on. And Calm Mind doesn't look particularly good versus my team. So I'm really hoping that it's the Calm Mind set, because Latios actually wins 1v1 if it is the Calm Mind set, but it's not, it's the Roar set. And also, I didn't know that using Sleep Talk into Roar, I didn't know that let you roar at neutral priority. So you learn something new every day. I named this Latios Sociopath because that was like a big topic on YouTube, right? What with the whole Shane Dawson documentary. So I was like, yeah, we'll just call it Sociopath, question mark, why not? I feel like Latios might be a sociopath, we don't know. I go for a substitute here. I'm not really sure why, honestly, because he can obviously just random into the Roar and roar me out. I think the idea here was that if I get in and I set up a sub, I can do, I don't know. I think this line was a little loose. It was a little bit of loose play. We get roared out into the Rotom. I'm ecstatic about this because it's actually best case scenario. We get that lefties recovery on the Rotom. We get to click Leaf Storm again. We know his Florges isn't at full health. I don't think it's at full health. It's definitely toxic, so it's definitely taking Toxic Chip at the very least. But either way, we're gonna click that fat Leaf Storm. He doesn't really have a switch in outside of his Florges if he's worried about Willow on the Chestnut. So we go for the Leaf Storm. This thing eats it every time, and then this is the turn. I'm like 99.9% sure. So last time he just clicked Synthesis again while we Volt Switched. So I anticipate this exact same line of play. And then instead of doing anything that makes sense, I do something that I don't think makes sense. Maybe it does. I'm not sure. I don't know exactly what he would go to after Synthesis plus Toxic and the Volt Switch chip. But what's gonna happen is I'm gonna switch into my Hitmontop, and he breaks the mold here and doesn't follow his same like play pattern, which has only been established once. And he goes for Moonblast, and it just decimates me. So Hitmontop's down, which means I have a lot harder of a time answering Excadrill. I have a lot harder of a time whittling down things that can be whittled through having access to priority. So, or like picking off threats that have already been shipped. I have a lot harder time breaking through the Miltank. It's just not great. So loose play by me for sure. I switch in the Mammoth Swine. I go for Icicle Spear here, which might have been pretty greedy because it looks like at least some number of times Icicle Spear didn't kill with 2 spears there. I also reveal the spear, which I'm not sure is great. Like, I could have just gone for EQ. I was kind of predicting the switch into Chestnut, though. Maybe he wants to save his floor just so he can synthesis up later. I don't know, honestly. So we go into our Mammoth Swine here. He switches back into his Suicune. He gets to wake up this turn, I'm pretty sure. Like, he wakes up no matter what. But at this point, I really need damage off on this stupid thing. I probably always should have switched into Rotom here. Like, probably almost every single time I should have switched into Rotom here. I'm not 100% on it, but my Mammoth Swine was really good, and just switching into Rotom is so free, and he has lost his sort of like dedicated switch in. So I don't know if this play made a lot of sense. I just wanted the damage, but realistically, he can just always rest it off. So I guess, like, watching this after the fact, I'm starting to see that there are some lines of play here that I think were less than optimal. He could have, I don't know. Yeah, I think that was just like not an optimal play. So I go into Rotom, pretty predictable. We eat the Scald for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. This Suicune can't do anything to my Rotom, and I think some non-0% of the time, we actually have a shot to Oko with Leaf Storm. So we just keep bringing it in, and I think that's what my line should have been there. Like, I never should have taken the unnecessary damage with Mammo. So we Volt Switch out, which I kind of predicted a switch, I'm not gonna lie. I predicted a switch because, 1, I just thought he would want to preserve his Suicune there. 2, I didn't expect him to ever switch into Excadrill since I've just been consistently clicking Leaf Storm. I just didn't think that would be a play. I go out into my Mammoth Swine here because at this level of HP, it actually doesn't really have much use left to me. Like, everything on his team except... No, I think everything on his team outspeeds at this point. Like, the Zard outspeeds, the Excadrill outspeeds, the Suicune... So the Chestnut is the only thing that this outspeeds. Which is kind of null. Anyways. So he switches in his Mammoth Swine. Or, no, I switch to my Mammoth Swine. He switches in his Excadrill. He takes me out with an EQ. I go right out into my Cobalion. If this thing is Choice Scarf, I get Super Got. Oh, no, because it's Stealth Rocks. Okay, so I go out into my Cobalion? That's not the right. That's not the right one. I go into my Terrakion. I hate Terrakion. That's why I don't know its name. But from this point, it kind of looks like close combat wins the game, right? Like, if I can wear down this stupid... what is this thing? I love Chestnut, but what is it? It's like a spike weasel? Like a porcupine? Is it porcupine or porcupine? Porcupine? Whatever. A little spiky weasel. We super whittle this thing down, and it doesn't get another free switch into close combat because 2 close combats will definitely take it out. He goes for the Drain Punch here. Fine. I was really anticipating the Leech Seed. I'm glad he didn't go for it. And we just bring in our Latios. I expect the switch here. I'm just going to go for the sub. I'm thinking to myself, this could be the time for Latios to set up because we'll always get a substitute and we'll always get damage off on something. That's my logic right now. Goes out into his Excadrill. Makes a lot of sense. This pretty much guarantees that he's Choice Scarfed because we didn't have that locked in up to this point, but this pretty much guarantees it. There's just 0% chance he switches in if he's not Scarfed here, because we can dent it with like a coverage move and then finish it off with like any other move. So we go for the sub, pretty much revealing our set to be sub Calm Mind probably. I'm gonna go for the recover here, which also, if someone can tell me this in the comment section, why is Roost the superior option to recover on mons that get both? So like Latios and Latios, why is Roost the preferred option? I don't actually know. I just slapped recover on this thing when I was building, just not thinking about it. So we go for the Roost. Next turn happens, he goes for the EQ and he snags a crit and kills us, which is super unfortunate. We wouldn't have gotten much damage off on this thing. I think I was willing to just sack Latios here because it didn't really do anything this match. I was willing to sack and just get the damage off, like just get the 15 to 20% that Psyshock did. I switched into my Terrakion, not Cobalion, and I know 100% we're just going for close combat because from the looks of his team, close combat kills everything. Like, it looks like close combat actually wipes his team from here. because Charizard has to have like max HP and be bold or impish, whichever is like plus defense minus special attack. It has to be one of those natures and full HP to live a close combat once it takes the rocks. The Chestnut dies in 2, the Excadrill dies in 1, and then he has the Miltank. So just as like side information, this turn he runs down 90 seconds on his clock. So I'm thinking like he knows he's beaten, he knows he got me, and in the back of my mind I'm like, oh, I should probably switch out into the Rotom here in case he's Choppleberry. But no, I just click the close combat because I want to win the game and get it over with, and he's Choppleberry. And this means that he gets to do something, and that something is Thunder Wave, and it lands, and now my Terrakion is not a win condition. So this was something that Root had even talked to me about, saying like, don't just assume that the Terrakion will be able to KO the Miltank. It could be Chopple. We get the full pair there, which I don't think makes a ton of difference. Honestly, I'm not sure. Yeah, so we get double paired. Okay, so maybe it does. I don't know. I don't know. Like, either way, Terrakion's not finishing the game, so it really doesn't matter what ends Miltank's life. I think we're down to just Arcanine and Rotom. So we go into Rotom. From this range, it looks like a Leaf Storm will kill, especially since this thing has to be pretty physically defensive. If it only took about half from a Choppleberry, like holding a Choppleberry only taking half, it has to be super physically defensive. So it looks like the Leaf Storm will kill it. It does. And now we're in this predicament where he has his Charizard and his Excadrill left. I have my Arcanine and my Rotom left. I can't switch out into my Arcanine right now. It's not something I can do. So in my head, my only real line here is to go for Thunder Wave on this thing, let it Mega, go for Thunder Wave. It's probably gonna either DD or Roost Up, but then we actually outspeed it, which is wild. It means he wasn't max speed, and he also wasn't a plus speed nature. So we outspeed. This thing gets fully paired for a turn. And now I'm in a position where, okay, I'm thinking in the back of my mind, I have to come in on Excadrill with Arcanine to finish the game, but I can't KO this Charizard with Rotom. I can't. I physically don't have the option to, because I've already Leaf Stormed, so my special attack is already lowered, and also it just resists all my stabs anyway. So I go on Arcanine, knowing that I can KO, thinking like, okay, maybe there's a line here, but in reality, I knew at this point, once I switched in, and I'd kind of forgotten I was toxic, I thought maybe I would be able to come in and then Morning Sun up to full, and then switch back out and just kind of like hope the Charizard dirtled for a little bit. But once I killed it with a Dragon Pulse, like once I came in and realized I was toxic, I knew this game was over. The only chance we have is if the thing isn't max attack, and somehow my Rotom can live on like 1%, and then I think we still have to get a crit Leaf Storm. So our odds are pretty low. They're pretty slim. We drop to the Earthquake. We're gonna switch into our Rotom, and that's gonna be the game. You know, spoiler alerts, I'll let you know a few seconds ahead of time. So if you want to go ahead and start typing your comments in the comment section down below about how I played super suboptimally, you can do it now. But yeah, we super die here just to this thing. Looking back on it, I think that sort of like the two biggest blows to me were, one, letting the Hitmontop drop. I should have played much more defensively than that. I 100% should have played much more defensively than that. There was no reason for me to switch the Hitmontop into the floor just because after a Synthesis, it probably didn't kill. Like, even after the Volt Switch chip and after the Toxic chip, maybe Fake Out and a Bullet Punch killed, but just like a singular Bullet Punch definitely never killed. So it just wasn't a great line. Like, I could have went out into Arcanine, could have went out into Mamoswine, which also wasn't great probably. I don't know. You know, this is a weird week for me, and this is my last week of using this team specifically, which I've said it a couple times already, not as an excuse really, but just more or less, I don't like this team. It's not something I would draft. I don't like I don't like super frail megas that are also kind of like a middling speed. Like, if you're going to be that frail, I want you to be like Mega Alakazam fast or Mega Beedrill fast, something along those lines. Mega Absol is just 115 is fast, but it's not. Every team I faced so far has something that either speed ties with me or outspeeds it and OHKOs it. So it just doesn't seem fantastic in my opinion. Like, I think that Magic Bounce is great, and I think being able to play to your outs is really smart, and being able to like engineer game states where Mega Absol like sweeps is really clever. I don't think this team is necessarily made for that, or if it is, I'm not capable of using it that way. Maybe if the Sticky Web user was like a much faster, much more impressive mon like Galvantula or Rabombi, then Mega Absol gets really good. But as is, it's something I don't like. I don't like a lot of the other random mons on the team. But either way, it's our last week of using it. Our next draft breakdown should go up probably tomorrow. I'm probably going to record it right after this. So I guess, I don't know. I haven't made the slides, and that's not something I want to do even a little bit, but I could probably do it. I could probably jam it real quick. I wish I had a minion to do it for me. I don't know. Anyways, that's the game. Great game to ultraplayer. His link will be in the description down below. Definitely go check it out. Hopefully, I just upload this tonight. It's 9:52, so my bedtime is in 8 minutes. So I'm at least gonna render it and export it. Who knows? Go check out ultraplayer. Thank you so much for watching. It means the absolute most to me. I hope you enjoyed the postcom. I know that I get a little tangenty sometimes when I'm talking, so please forgive. But that's you know, that's the game. We're 2-2 going into week 4. Our next 4 weeks, we only play super easy to beat coaches like Lord Emvee, Leo, aka SixftHax, and then the two other, those two, I'm joking. Those two are actually really tremendous at the league format. The other two, I've only played one of them, and my next week's opponent, so week 5 opponent is Lord Emvee. I haven't done the battle yet. I'm terrified to do it because I think it's gonna be rough. After that, let's see, can I go to my schedule? So I play Emvee. After that, I play Leo. So just, you know, back to back, really rough matches. Not I don't know the team matchups necessarily, but really tough coaches. Then after that, it's the Carolinical Fables, which is Panther. And I played Panther once. I want to say he won. I'm pretty sure it was in the Little Cup League. Don't know enough about him to say whether or not he is fantastic or great, but I'm assuming that he is pretty good because his team is drafted really well, and he played really well the time we played. And I've watched his comms a couple times, like his commentary during battles, and he seems to have a really good understanding of what's going on, sort of like the mechanics of the game, how to put yourself in positions to not lose, and I super appreciate that when I'm watching battlers. And then the POR, that's the Portland, no, the Portage Herdiers. It's JustKurt. I have no clue. I don't think I've ever battled him. I don't believe. No clue. No clue. That's that. I don't think I've ever battled him. His team is really well composed though, so probably going to be a terrifying match. But anyways, we'll give you that next draft breakdown tomorrow, maybe, hopefully, something like that. I say tomorrow. I don't even know when this video is going up. Whenever this video goes up, you can expect it tomorrow. Thank you so much for the support on all the league battles. Everything that's been going up has just been getting shredded with support, and that means the absolute most to me. I love you all. I'm kind of done here. I've been rambling for basically ever. I gotta leave. Okay, bye.